um, could be bad. And just denying draws from this deck is one way that you can win. Patron, I think this is another rough matchup for Patron, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean,
There are a lot of board sweeps.
right. And the Patron Warrior has a lot of predictable damage, I feel. Like outside of Grommash, you don't have
Mhm.
to really play around anything. Whereas with the normal Warrior deck, there's the minions that are harder to deal with, and it has the comeback mechanics with its own brawls.
Yeah, you basically just have to draw into two board sweeps, and you're good. You deal with the first wave of patrons, you deal with the second wave of patrons, and you can usually find spot removal to deal with the other threats like Frothin Berserker and Dr. Boom. So it feels like this deck is tough, and you have ways to gain armor with Armor Smith, which a lot of control warrior decks nowadays don't run Armor Smiths.
Hmm.
But you have to have a very specific condition in order to do that. You have to have a big board, and you have to have Armor Smith plus Whirlwind effects. Whereas a control warrior, I mean, they can just Justicar, armor every turn, Shield Maiden, Shield Block, Bash. So you can't get to the armor totals that a control warrior can get to with this deck. So you can't play around anything as well.
Hmm.
And no brawl.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be so hard to fight the board against all those Murlocs.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ooh.
perfect.
Perfect for Nostam.
Yeah,
Not so well. I mean, maybe if it was one, but Eversiction probably doesn't feel too happy about that.
yeah, you
He's
can't
probably
hope for much
regretting.
better.
He's like, "Gosh, I should have brought Control Warrior."
Well,
He's been playing and perfecting this Elise Control Warrior deck for like weeks,
hmm
and then all of a sudden he just says, "You know what? I'm playing Patron." Bold choice.
The Lothab's not too bad here. He might get an opportunity to push for some damage, because all the board clears are spell based.
Hmm.
But I mean that frothing just dies the true silver here. It's not going to do a whole lot.
Yeah, he is going to take some damage. He's going to take 2 extra damage from the frothing after the heal. But I mean, double heal bot, Belcher, Humility,
No, I don't
Land
think he's going to
Hands.
Belcher. I think he's going to just charge
Well,
into Lothab.
no, I'm saying like those are the tools that he has in the coming turns to
Yeah,
just
yeah.
prevent damage. So uh, yeah, this matchup just seems so tough.
Yeah, again, we see that Eversiction is having a really hard time figuring out how he could possibly win this game.
Yeah,
Battle Rage for 1 as well. Oh man. Yeah, it looks like he's feeling the pressure a little bit there.
yeah.
Are you feeling happy right now? The guy who knocked you out is getting completely destroyed.
Wow. No, it's not. um, it feels bad, man. No, I like that Chucky and Nostam are sort of taking risks with the
Hmm.
Anything Can Happen Paladin. Sometimes it can be a tough deck to pilot. It's it doesn't have great matchups against certain things. It can get run over by aggro decks. Sometimes, depending on your draw. If you don't draw into
Hmm.
your heals and draw into your board sweeps, it doesn't help you. So it is a big risk, and they sort of had to read the meta and read the players that they were playing against in their group to try and find out what was going to be better. And they both settled on Murloc Paladin, and they both seem to be having success with it so far. So it seems to be the right choice.
Okay. Well, he's gonna try his luck and try to push the Paladin down some hit points again. But we know that has absolutely no chance of working.
Yeah. So he's only played 2 Murlocs so far, right? He's only played one War Leader and one Bluegill.
Bluegill, yeah.
So he's not really that close to his win condition.
Yeah, he's pretty far, but I feel like with all the heals and board sweeps that the Paladin has, your win condition could just be to wait, and the warrior will just run out of cards.
Yeah, that's true. They don't have a lot of cards that deal direct damage. A lot of the cards that they have are supporting the other cards in the deck. Can he clear the? He could have cleared the Doomsayer. He could still clear it if he really wants to with Grom,
Hmm.
but I mean, you're basically putting a Grom on the board to to save 2/1/3s or 2/1/2s after they've killed the slime. So that might be his only win condition. So I think you'd just death bite here, armor up, and let this stuff die.
Yeah. That feels pretty bad. It feels so difficult to get going.
And of course, since Doomsayer procs on your own turn, uh,
Get some free card draw.
yeah, not
And you
quite
can
free
draw as
this
much as
time.
you want, because the Warriors are more.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't even know if fatigue plays an issue because if you run out of cards as a Murloc Paladin,
You're gonna win.
you're just gonna win because you've drawn all your cards. Like that's just how it is. So it's you can't really use fatigue as a win condition against this matchup unless you
Hmm.
got a wall of taunts or 100 life from armor.
All right. Well, that's a pretty good tempo turn from the Warrior, but I think it's the last decent turn he's gonna get. And
Yeah,
that gets pretty savagely wrecked here.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
he could even
just double
just double
consecrate.
consecrate, save the equality, and yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's like almost no good minions left in the deck.
there's
I
a
think
patron.
there's a patron, but he has to somehow get the equality out,
Yeah,
and
but I don't.
there's no way that's gonna happen.
Yeah, he plays Grom. It's just going to get Aldored or Humility'd.
Hmm.
He plays the patrons. He knows that there's an equality combination left, and I think Eversiction's just sort of running out of patience here. So he's just going to go ahead and get in the damage now while he can. And Nostam gives a hair flip. It's like, yeah, I can deal with that.
Well, the interesting thing is that if he does Pyro equality, there's a chance that he could lose. But no, he's smarter than that.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
got the Peacekeeper.
He knows that the only way he loses this is by losing his using his equality and Wild Pyromancer
Hmm.
prematurely. So Eversiction he's just going to try and push in for this damage, but I just don't know if it's going to be enough. Lay on Hands is going to come out from Nostam. He there might be a situation where he's running out of cards, but once again, but when you're out of cards,
Double humility. That's interesting. Wait, he can just anything. There's no charges in the
the
deck.
thing is, if he anythins, he doesn't know if Eversiction runs any core crons.
Well,
If he
apparently he
anythins,
knows. He knows.
okay. Well, if he knows, because this is not lethal.
No, but
Um,
it will be lethal next turn.
yeah. So Korkon Elite would be okay. So he saw the Shredder. A lot of times you run one or the other. You run double
Hmm.
Shredder or double Korkon. Some people run a mix of both. Like I've tested out a mix of both.
It's also the
But
second time that he's playing against the Patient Warrior, right? Like he probably feels pretty confident because he went through most of the deck in the prior match, and that's
yeah,
one of those situations where having some experience against some of the decks of your opponent counts for a lot. I
yeah,
think that's why he quite comfortably made that play. Well,
yeah.
there's going to be Hunter last. I wonder, like, how can you spin Hunter for it to be a control combo deck? What is the control combo Hunter list that we're missing? Is there a Reno Hunter?
No. But Hunter is an interesting deck, and a lot of players think, okay, well, Patron, no, that's favored against Hunter. But if you look back at statistics, even from the age of Patron, where it was a crazy deck with Warsong Commander, both variations of Hunter had an even or good win rate against Patron Warriors.
Hmm.
Just
Out
statistically
pressure them.
across like premier events, and
Yep.
so it's an interesting matchup, and this looks to be more like a mid-range hunter or a hybrid hunter because it's got a hunter's mark and had a freezing trap, which tend to do pretty well because patron
Whoa,
warriors don't deal with high mains that well.
that's gonna get so punished.
Well,
Whoa.
potentially.
Oh yeah, he kind of wanted to. Well, you can owl a different minion. You can owl your web spinner if you want.
No. Well, if he hits the juggle, he can just coin bow.
Yeah.
It looks like he's just gonna Hunter's Mark and bow it anyway.
hmm
What this means is that he made the read. Well, Eversiction didn't have Fire War Axe, so he's gonna put him on having a Despite in order to deal with the Knife Juggler that's on the board. And I mean, he's just gonna start pushing damage, even if he does have Despite.
That's gonna be just whirlwind into whirlwind next turn.
Yeah. See what he picks up. There's a Despite.
And there's a tiger.
That's actually a fantastic card. A lot of players will put that card in, like a player LBYS who we saw playing Group A yesterday. When he plays Hunter, he puts Stranglethorn Tiger in it just because he thinks it's just a fantastic card in the deck anyway. So, great pickup from Web Spinner, I'd say.
What do you think about this Death by hit?
Well, if a 1-health creature comes out, he can just clear it by Whirlwind. And that's actually fantastic because, of course, when it comes out of a Shredder, you don't get the Battlecry effect, but you do get the Death Rattle effect, so he's going to be able to destroy
It's
Mana
just
Crystal.
so much damage. I was just thinking if he did the Slam Whirlwind play, he would have just prevented all that damage.
Yeah, I think he's just dead. Look at this. You said there's so much damage that he's taking from the hits,
Yeah.
and there's so much direct damage from Nostam's hand. Like this, Lothab's effectively doing nothing because he's just gonna bow.
Oh
and
my
hero
God.
power.
That's double kill command next turn.
It doesn't matter. He's at
Is that 1?
1 health. Wow, brutal. Absolutely brutal. This is going to be a 3-0 unless Eversiction can pull out a miracle. And there's no Armor Smith, so a miracle is not going to happen. He can try and dig for one, but even if he digs for one, the maximum amount of armor he can gain after he plays an Armor Smith and a Whirlwind would be 4 this turn. So he could get up to 5, and that's not enough because a bow and a hero power will finish it off. So. That is going to be it. That's going to be Nostam taking a 3-0 over Eversiction, and
That was brutal.
a little smirk comes across Nostam's face. It looks like his preparation.
I'd be smiling. That
Yeah.
smile didn't look like enough for what we just saw. I
Yeah.
mean, we talk about how the performance of some decks in some tournaments leads to the next tournaments, being impacted by that. On how you mentioned there's probably going to be so few Secret Paladin decks just because Secret Paladin did so poorly in the last few tournaments. I mean, from what we just saw, there's going to be like a 2-week timeout on Patron Warrior, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
just how things are going to run.
I mean, Patron Warrior just seems like it's getting owned by so many things. It loses to Control Warrior, it loses to Control Priest, loses to Reno Warlock, loses to Anyfin Paladin, loses to Hunter.
Apparently.
Yeah, apparently.
Apparently.
So.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. We do have a few more matches for you guys. The players who have lost are not eliminated. It is the top 2 move on. Eversiction will be playing the loser of the first match, and that will be VLPS, I believe.
Yep.
And Nostam will be playing Chalky. It's going to be the winners round and the losers round, and then we'll have a decider game. So the winner of the winners round and the winner of the decider game will be the 2 moving on to tomorrow's finals. And that should be pretty exciting. Who do you have as your favorite for the next match? Who do you have your favorite for the winners? Because it is 2 anything can happen Paladins. Like if those match up against each other, isn't that just complete chaos?
Well, are we doing the losers matchup first or the winners matchup first?
I think
The winners matchup probably.
Yeah, we're doing
right?
winner. We usually do winners matchup. I think we're
Oh
doing winners
man,
matchup
that's
next.
tough. I think Chalky has. That's actually gonna be really tough. That's hard to call. I think Nostam has a pretty good lineup for this. Because he's got the Control Warlock, which will do well against the. Should do well against the Warlock. He's going to ban Druid no matter what. They're probably both going to ban Druid. Maybe not Chalky, but it's going to be hard to tell. They have sort of similar lineups. The Hunter, I think, is going to be like a wild card there, depending on what matchup it gets, and if it can take a win early, is going to be interesting to say. But I can't even give it to anybody.